Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Kyle Mao, and today we are going to be making a comparison between the United States and Poland's healthcare, culture, and much more. The point of this is to give an insight into what life in Eastern Europe is actually look like. So a lot of business owners that hire from my agency or my software platform always wonder, how far is this salary that I'm paying them actually going to go? What it gets you in terms of food, healthcare, and also just to show you a little bit of insight into life in this part of the world. Make sure you check out the previous episode where we went through the minimum wage, the average wage, went through some of the details about who makes what kind of money, the skills that they need. We give all the specific numbers about the current financial situation in Poland, including student environment, and we even take a trip to the grocery store and do some shopping so you can see what it actually costs here to buy food. My name is Kyle Mao. I'm the founder and CEO of Hire UA and Teamity. Without further ado, let's get rolling. Quick look at the menu here. Starters, you can kind of just browse this and the prices, but toast with mozzarella and tomato is 25 zloty, so about $6. And then pancakes, $8, and we're just gonna order some coffee and show you that. So we just sat down, ordered coffee, like an espresso, about $4, and that's actually not any cheaper than coffee in the States. I would say in Poland, the coffee is probably actually just as expensive, maybe even more so. It's not really a coffee culture, it's more of a vodka and beer culture, if we're being honest. But you can't get a view like this, like in the States. You'd be sitting at a Starbucks or a cafe with a view just of a parking lot or a strip mall. Every time I go to McDonald's in the States, and then I come here and I eat the same thing, in the States, I'll be thinking about that stuff for days. Like they put something in it, just absolutely hooks you on it. And here it's kind of just, it doesn't taste quite as strong or as vivid. After a while though, you come to prefer it here. Chemical wise, it's not allowed here or in the EU, and you can absolutely taste the difference if you're really looking out for it.
I don't understand the whole hype about it, because it's more like a milk with coffee than coffee with a milk.
You mean like the Starbucks and the Dunkin' culture of like, here's your coffee, but it's actually like 3,000 calories?
Yes, it's like people
like
drink their calories and they're like, oh, why I'm like this?
Yeah.
It's just sugar. I remember I ordered Dunkin'. I said, please don't put any sugar in it. And it's
impossible.
Still super sweet.
In the States, if you want like Dunkin' or Starbucks or like a normal coffee, you have to pretty much just order a black coffee.
That's why I did at some point at Starbucks. I just took the black one. It still was a bit different than here.
And it's gross. It's pretty much just burnt. And why would you pay $5 or $6 for that when you can just make it at home? It's a culture of like going to a coffee shop and having dessert basically. Everything on Starbucks menus these days is like, oh, here's your, pumpkin latte, but it's got sugar, whipped cream. It's got all this stuff in it. It's totally unrealistic. As opposed to out here, look, I'm just gonna have an espresso. That's it. I'm just gonna drink it, sip it, and that's it. Obviously expensive for what, $4 for this little thing, but you're paying for the atmosphere. And like I said, it's not a strip mall parking lot. You have a little bit more of a view out here for sure.
It's not a drive-through. Like in the United States, you have to drive through everything.
Yeah.
Even the pharmacy.
It's a totally different world in the States. I mean, you were just there last year, right? So you saw it yourself as a girl who grew up here in Wrocław, grew up in Poland, how vastly different it is. One, it keeps you healthier. I know that you walk on average, you said about 20,000 steps a day, and that's probably more than most Americans working a 9-to-5 get in a week. The food's not full of all the chemicals and all the crap, and you just tend to be healthier. So of course then that reduces your medical insurance and those costs. In the States, how much would you pay on a monthly basis for good healthcare? It's probably several $100s. In comparison, an appointment with a very good pediatrician who we really like is $40, 200 zlotys, so maybe $50. And you can pretty much go online, make an appointment, get in the next day. When I was in the States in 2022, it was sometimes months to see a doctor. I had to drive an hour.
Pay for it, because we have only also a public.
It's so difficult sometimes. Like my mom passed away last year, and when she was dealing with just getting the medication for her cancer, it was pulling teeth. We'd go to the doctor, they'd write this prescription, and then you'd have to go pick it up at the pharmacy. If it was a narcotic for an actual painkiller, it would run out really quick. They'd only give you 3 days. You'd have to call again, get it refilled. Here it's a little bit more regulated, but in Ukraine, for example, you can go get painkillers just off the counter in the pharmacy for a good price. And you can just walk in and buy it and say, I need this, and they'll give it to you. In the States, that nobody ever says, how can we actually solve the problem of people being unhealthy? It's take another pill or go on another fad diet, or someone comes and says, I'm depressed. The first thing they say is, here's your, box of pills to make you better, instead of, hey, are you exercising? sleeping? Are you eating right? Are you getting sunlight? Are you walking? Certainly not perfect out here, but it's better and it's not as prevalent. It's just a different way of life. People tend to be healthier than they are in the States. Walking around, you see the people walking by here. Certainly there are people who are not in shape, but it's nowhere near what it is in the States where pretty much everybody is. So I think that drives the cost of living down as well.
You are in United States and you are walking down the street, that means you are a tourist.
Pretty much, yeah.
The people were looking at me as a weirdo.
I think you're crazy.
Yeah, why do I walk?
Yeah.
You don't even have departments there, so it's pretty hard to cross the street even.
Like Dubai, I was just in Dubai in April, and it's a place that's not built for people, it's built for cars. And beautiful day out, it's 70 degrees right now, so walking to the grocery store isn't a big deal. But if it's freezing cold and snowing and you have to bundle up in 5 different layers just to go to the grocery store, yeah, there's certainly days then you just want to jump in your car in the garage and drive to the store and drive back. That said, in the States, it's very different with like the snow, because if you have to go shovel your own driveway to leave the house in your car in the snow, here at least they have equipment and machinery and staff that is going to clear the roads. Trams run no matter what. So it's very different in the States as opposed to having to shovel your own driveway so you can get your car out of the garage and go to work. But certainly driving to the grocery store in a car, if it's snowing, is a lot better than walking to the tram or walking to the grocery store, carrying your bags back. So everything's a trade-off. That's really what it comes down to, I think.
Also, you just have a big groceries where you can find everything.
Yeah.
From grocery to shopping, like a TV, like the Walmart. You can go buy some sweets and buy TV at the same time. In Poland, it's usually a separate place.
Yeah, in Poland or anywhere in Europe, you might have to go to a few places to get everything you want. Even the store that we were at earlier where we picked up the groceries, sometimes they don't have a certain meat or they don't have a certain cheese. It changes like on a weekly basis. And that's a big central one. So some of the smaller stores that are not central, you'll go months without having a certain item. A certain cheese that I liked in the little, it's called Zabka, which is basically a small convenience store. It's like 7-Eleven. And they had this certain cheese that I really like right in front of my house. I can get there in 10 seconds. And all of a sudden one day that cheese just disappeared. And it hasn't been back in months. Not that there are shortages or anything of the sort, it just changes and it's just different. Whereas like Domi said, in the States, you can go to Walmart and you can do most of your grocery shopping at Walmart or Target or Costco now. You can get pretty much everything you need. You can get your car service, you can buy car parts, you can buy outdoor equipment. Here you'd be going to multiple stores to get all that. In the States, if you are buying something big, you put it in your giant truck and you just drive it home yourself. Here, you gotta wait for it to be delivered. Who knows when that delivery window is going to be. You usually have to pay extra if it's gonna be brought upstairs. So for example, if you live on the 4th floor with no elevator, they'll bring you the couch, but they won't bring it past the ground floor. And a lot of times it may not even be an option to buy the delivery up to the top. So you gotta ask a neighbor. Not that that's a huge deal, but yeah, you're getting a couch delivered and they say, oh, it's gonna be an extra $50 to take it up 4 flights of stairs. You're thinking to yourself, like, I'm never moving out of here. I'm keeping this couch forever. For example, the office that we have here has 2 flights that are not connected to the elevator. And the elevator is actually, it's no bigger than this table. So you couldn't really even fit an office chair in this elevator on this table. You'd have to like send it up separately or carry it up the stairs. So yeah, that's the trade-off to all this beautiful architecture, beautiful vibe.
I'm living on the 4th floor and I don't have an elevator.
Yeah, how many times every day do you have to go up and down that?
Like a few times.
When I lived in Prague, I was on the 4th floor with some steep steps, and it was 118 stairs of steep steps to get to the top, and I'd go up and down that at least 5 times a day. It was miserable, actually. Life is not as convenient out here, and that's really good in some ways. I think in the States, people are pretty spoiled. When you're going up and down your 4 or 5 flights of stairs for the 5th time that day, you're just like, oh man, I wish I lived in an elevator, or I lived in a house, single floor. It would be a lot easier, but that's the trade-off. It is what it is.
Healthier.
It is healthier. For sure. As you can see, there is a huge difference between the USA and Poland, Eastern Europe. This part of the world can really be an ideal situation, like golden ratio as far as the hiring model for a Western business, meaning that you get to pay someone what is a really good salary here, and you get to actually save a ton of money in addition to that. So everybody wins. That's like the best part about it all. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you like this video. Watch out for our next episode and the final episode in the series from Wrocław. We're going to be posting it very soon. We're going to dive into some mortgage prices, rent prices, show you some actual apartments that you could rent, college tuitions, some food on the street, and a lot more. See you in the next episode.